Hello students! Today we will be learning how to use quotation marks. In this video, you will learn when and where to place quotation marks and what types of punctuation to use with quotation marks. Let's get started. Rule number 1. Always use double quotation marks to set off a direct word-to-word quotation. A good example of this would be, "When will you be here?" he asked. An incorrect use of this word would be, he asked when I would be there. Notice that his sentence is not directly quoting anyone, thus there is no need for the double quotation marks. Rule number 2. Either quotation marks or italics are customary for titles of magazines, books, plays, films, songs, poems, and titles of several other things. A good example of quoting titles properly would be, "Last week, Johnny watched the Paul Newman classic The Sting for the first time." An incorrect example of this would be, "Last week, Johnny watched The Sting for the first time." Notice how, in the incorrect example, The Sting is not italicized or surrounded by quotation marks. Rule number 3. Punctuation is a bit complicated when it comes to using quotation marks. America is a bit of an oddball when it comes to this. Here in the USA, periods and commas go inside the quotation marks. An example of this goes as follows. "Hurry up," he yelled. An incorrect example would be, "Hurry up," he yelled. To go along with Rule 3, you always should use single quotation marks for quotations within quotations. A good example of this would be, he said, "Dan cried, do not treat me that way." An incorrect example of this would be, he said, "Dan cried, do not treat me that way." As you can see, the sentence looks cluttered with both quotations being double quoted. As a courtesy, make sure there is visible space at the start or end of quotation between adjacent single and double quotation marks. Rule number 4. Quotation marks are often used with technical terms, terms used in an unusual way, or other expressions that vary from standard usage. A correct example of this would be, he did some experimenting in his college days. To go along with rule number 4, you should never use single quotation marks with technical terms, terms used in an unusual way, or other expressions that vary from standard usage. The single quotation marks are valid only within a quotation. Rule number 5. When quoted material runs more than one paragraph, start each new paragraph with opening quotation marks, but do not use closing quotation marks until the end of the passage. For example, she wrote, "I don't paint anymore. For a while I thought it was just a phase that I'd get over. Now I don't even try." Thank you for watching this informative video, and I hope it will aid you in your literary works for years to come.